Ajitha Bala is a vocal artist from Northern Virginia who has trained in vocal and veena under her mother, Srimati Vilyanur G. Lalita. Currently, she is receiving advanced training from Vidwan Maharajpuram Ramachandran while continuing her tutelage with her mother. Ajita has given concerts at various sabhas in Chennai during the December music season for the past 4 years. She was a finalist in Carnatic Music Idol USA Junior. Ajita was blessed to receive a trophy for her outstanding performance at the hands of Dr. Balamurali Krishna in 2014 at the DC Metro Junior Competition. Ajita is pursuing her undergraduate degree in neuroscience from the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. In her free time, she enjoys writing and producing Western pop music. Thank you so much for being a part of this year's ICAPS online Mahotsavam. I know it's been a very different format than what we usually do, but I really
Yeah,
appreciate you participating in it this year.
no problem. It's actually a great idea. I think it's really important to hear the story behind all of the musicians.
Thank you. So tell us about your artistic journey.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I've been learning music, Carnatic music, since basically as long as I can remember. So I have an older brother who plays veena, and literally ever since I was born, my mom was always teaching him veena. So I grew up learning that, and then like from the age of 3 is when I like really started singing. My mom was my first guru. She was teaching me like suddenly everything. And then once we moved to the US, she started taking students, and I was always in every class, like learning along with the students. And I think that really helped me learn a lot more because I was so exposed to it. And even in general, just being exposed to like, having a mom as a bean artist, like there was always music playing. I would go, my brother plays chess, so we would go to the tournaments, and on the rides there, we would be listening to like Maharajapuram Santanam, like all those things. So I grew up, those were my childhood memories, or those songs. And we would like, me and my brother would take turns like singing. It was always a fun experience. And then I started taking music more seriously around age 12 is when I started also going to other Carnatic musicians for advanced training lessons. It actually started mostly because my mom didn't want to always like scold me, and I would always get really sad whenever she scolded me. So she was like, okay, and it wasn't really like I wasn't really taking it to heart, and all of her corrections, I was just being like, oh, she's just saying this, she's just being mean. So I wouldn't take it as seriously, and she wanted me to, improve. So I started taking lessons from this mommy from India through Skype, and then that was mostly focusing on my vocal technique. So I had to start from scratch actually. I was singing like Sarali Verse, Genta Verse, and all those things, and really like focusing on my foundation because a lot of the times as a kid you're just told to like sing loudly, sing from like your stomach, just try to hit all the notes, like you want all the three sthayis, mantra sthayi, tar sthayi. So I was just focusing on that and learning about how to properly use my voice with her. And then after that, I basically like relearned a bunch of the basics and some of the varnams. And then I started taking more advanced lessons with like manodharmam and like learning new songs, learning all these different sangadis because I think at a more advanced level, advanced musicians have a different way of approaching sangadis that are more like standard for concert format. So I was learning more about that. Alongside, I was also involved in like chorus and stuff in high school and middle school. That was just like, I mean, I always was singing, so I just love singing, and I love singing in all types of formats. Um, I did Bharatanatyam for a while, and obviously Veena as well. I stopped Bharatanatyam once I got to high school because it was just becoming too much, focusing on like three things. I also had chess going on, and then like it was just becoming too much. So I decided to take a break from chess and Bharatanatyam, and like I still think it was really important that I learned those things because it really showed me how multifaceted music was, and learning about those things and having a foundation in those things like helped me get better at many other parts of my life. And also with Bharatanatyam, there's such a huge focus on rhythm, and that's important to like vocal singing with talam, and especially with kalpanaswarams and manodharmam. So, and then I guess like chess, you can say my strategic skills and my tactical skills, which are also used in singing alapanas and singing Neraval swarams and all those things. So I think it was really important that I learned all of those things. And in high school, I was doing more concerts across the US, mostly just at like temples and stuff. My parents' main focus was to get more exposure for me and also practice singing in stages, because I always had like stage fright as a child. So I mean, the best way to conquer stage fright is just singing as much as you can in concerts and stuff like that. So I was doing that. Actually, my first full 1 hour concert was at the Sai temple. So it's
Yes,
really great.
yes. It was the, and I remember y'all picked December because then most folks wouldn't be there.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually like, I was a very stressed out child. I was always like, I'm also a perfectionist, so it was very hard for me to like even think about performing a kacheri, because I would always be like, I'm not ready, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
But then just delaying it was making it worse, and I'm never gonna be truly ready, you know. You just have to push yourself and just start doing it. So then I did that. It was actually a great experience because my violinist was someone out of state, and I got to meet with her, and like I did the whole like, you know, rehearsal one day before, and it was like very exciting. And she was also near my age. She was a little bit older than me, and she had more experience performing in concerts, so she was like able to ease my nerves. And then I performed, and it was fine, but I was so worried about it. And that really just started like the whole, you know, like starting to perform more. And then recently, I think like 4 years ago was the first time I went to India for December music season. And that was like the most professional like experience I've had, because it's like India December music season is known everywhere to be the music season. So that was really scary for me actually. That was when I struggled the most with performing, because I would just get so nervous on stage. Like right before, like once I started singing, it would be fine. I would be fine. But right before, I would get so nervous. I actually had like a little TMI, but I had a problem where I would get so nauseous and I would be so scared um, that I felt like I would have to throw up right before every time. And that was so bad for my voice, because obviously like the acid is going to destroy my voice. And then throughout my concert, like when I would go to like high notes, it would be very hard for me and I'd be struggling. So the first music season I went to in India, I really struggled. It was also like, since it was the first season, my parents really wanted me to like not waste any time while I was in India. So they like, I was performing at a lot of like local temples and, you know, just like small events, but I was performing a lot. And it was very like stressful for me and hectic, because it felt like I would go there, I would just perform, and then I would have one rest day to like really, basically I would just be practicing for the next kacheri, and then I would have a kacheri. So it was really stressful for me. But then the next year, over the summer, I had the Chinmaya sisters visited the US, and they conducted a bunch of workshops, and they were staying at our house while they were there, and they really helped me with my confidence. So they taught me how like I have this like little mental mantra that I basically say before I go on stage. It's just telling yourself that I am the best, like I'm the best singer. It sounds very narcissistic, but it really like helps mentally. You just have to be like, I'm the best, there's no one else that is a better singer than me. I'm going to go out and perform and do amazing. Like, this is the best concert ever, everyone's gonna love it. And I would tell myself that. And at first I thought it was just like, you know, okay, wow, I'm telling myself I'm the best, like it's not gonna do anything. But it really helped with my nervousness. And I think it was like a really life-changing moment, the first concert I had after that, where I felt comfortable, I didn't feel nauseous. And if I did feel nauseous, I would just tell myself that, and I felt so much better. Like it didn't matter that anyone in the audience could be judging me. Like it didn't matter, because I was the best to myself, you know. So that was a life-changing moment for me, especially because I was performing so much, and I would always like be so scared of always performing. But then after that, the music seasons after that were hectic, obviously, but they were much better. and the exposure was really, really great. I think this is the first December season that I won't be going to India since then because of obviously the pandemic. So yeah, and what else? Along with that, I do like so I think it's very important to talk about like Western music because a lot of people focus so much on Carnatic music. They feel to they kind of ostracize like the aspect of also like learning Western music alongside learning Carnatic music, or even just like singing like popular music, you know. But I think it's really important to know that a lot of people that sing Carnatic music also sing Western music. And Carnatic music really, really, really helps you with Western music because all these like really hard gamakas and brigas and like sangadis, it's like really fast singing and you have to have a lot of voice control for that. That is so useful for like Western music because then you can sing like riffs and like basically riffs are basically briga sangadis, you know? So I think that really helped me, and also knowing that a lot of my like fellow Carnatic singers were also interested in like Western popular music made me feel better about it. And then that was like, I think one of the first times I felt like I really had an advantage in like the normalized world, basically, you know? So I had that advantage, and I felt really proud that I had that advantage, that I was proud that I learned Carnatic music for so long and I could also use it in so many different aspects of music. And then I started writing music. Music basically started becoming an outlet for all my emotions. Especially recently, I feel like I've been using that as like a personal diary kind of way. So if I would feel really strongly about something, or if something just wouldn't leave my mind, I would write it, and then I would write it down. I would put a tune to it, and basically I started getting more into making music and producing music. And it's been great because not only are your feelings out into, you know, actual art, you can always listen back to it, and then just listening back to it takes you back to that time in your life when you were, you know, feeling something so strongly, and now you can be like, wow, I've overcome that, and like you can look back at it and be like, I don't feel that anymore. And that's so like amazing to me that you can just express yourself and just go back to it and feel those exact same feelings that you were feeling at that time, but still be apart from it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really amazing. So I started writing more. I'm writing another song right now. I'm in the middle of producing it. I'm still like a baby producer learning how to, you know, use a digital audio workstation and all that. But yeah,
That's awesome. That's really great.
thanks.
Um, and I have to say, it kind of made my heart float a little bit when you talked about how meaningful your ICAPS performance was, because that's literally what we hope. Like when we started
Yeah.
when we started ICAPS, that was literally the hope, is that it's kind of a bridge between, you know, 5 minute in, you know, some festival type setting and doing your Arangetram, and having that bridge in between where you can conquer your nerves and
Yes.
yourself ready to get to the next stage and the next stage beyond that. So
Yeah, I think it's really important that like 1 hour block is just like as you said, you're only singing 5 minutes at like Tyagaraja Aradhanas or something like that, composers festivals. And then once you have that 1 hour block, you feel it yourself. You feel like you're on a different level, you know? And now you don't want to go back to just singing those 5 minutes. You want to sing more. You want to sing more of those long concerts. It's
yeah,
also like a big achievement.
right? Yeah, it's a huge achievement. And you also get to think about taking somebody on the journey with you.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
as opposed to I've done my little piece and now
Yes.
move on, versus all right, I get to lead you with me through this whole thing, and you know, kind of going down that path. So that's wonderful. Um, what made you decide to stick with it and keep going, you know, with music?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie, a big part of it were my parents' influence, but I think it was just that once I started seeing that it was so useful in other parts of my life and how I could implement it in so many different ways, I started recognizing the value of it. I think that's really important because I feel like interest is one thing. Interest, yeah, you want to continue I mean, interest is like in the moment kind of thing. While you're singing, you're interested, you want to sing, you sing that concert, whatever. But the continuance is definitely like recognizing the value in it. Once you recognize the value, you see what it can do for you, you want to continue it because you want to grow from it. And I feel like once you realize that there has so much potential for growth, and really with Carnatic music, you can never be done learning because there's so many different parts of it and so many different aspects. Manodharmam is basically, it's just improv, and that's, the possibilities are limitless. Like you can never be perfect at improv. It's improv, and it's, you're always constantly challenging yourself. I think for me also, I love being challenged. I'm always like seeking a challenge, and Carnatic music is the definition of a challenge. Like it's a challenge. And I also really enjoyed, like, once I got over the nerves, I really enjoy giving concerts, like live concerts, because it's really nice when you're singing and that 1 hour or however long is, it's literally just all about you. And it's about the story that you're telling to the audience. As you said, it's about your take on those songs that like great composers have written, how you can express those emotions that you feel to the audience. And my favorite part is when I'm like singing something really emotional, or even just like a normal song, I'm just singing it, and then I can see like that one person in the audience that is like really enjoying that, and they're just like looking, and they're just like, oh, or they're closing their eyes and they're just like enjoying it. And at that moment you're like, that is when you know you've reached someone. And I think once you start reaching people, once you start feeling that like feeling of, wow, I'm making an impact on someone else, I think once you start that, you can never really stop.
That's wonderful. Um, what advice would you give to students for, middle school, high school, learning music, and you know trying to see how it fits in with what they're doing?
I think Carnatic music in general really develops a sense of discipline in you. So if you are really looking to become a better person, to become a more focused person, more driven person, you want to do well in school, then it's really important to have something like Carnatic music to really keep you going, keep you on schedule. I know a lot of times, like me as a child, I would just, sometimes it just gets tiring just practicing so much, and you're tired, you're bored, you just want to, like, I don't know, watch TV or something else. And I think it's important to recognize that everyone has those moments. I have those moments. Sometimes I really just don't want to do it. I'm not in the mood. And it's also okay in those moments to take a break. If you want to take a small break, I think it should be encouraged. I would rather someone take, like, not sing for the day because they just don't feel like singing, like they don't have the energy, they just don't have the like mood for it, then take that break. Don't force yourself to sing through that day, because that is just gonna like build that feeling of like angriness and like hatred, kind of like, you, if you do something you really don't want to do and you force yourself to do it, or someone force you to do it, then you're not going to want to do it again. So I think it's also really important, if you have a test tomorrow, or even like you have an important test this week, you're stressing about it, in one, like in some ways I think music is a great like distraction. Like you study and you balance these things, like music practicing, it takes your mind off of it. But if you really just feel like it's too much and you just don't want to be bothered with something, then I would suggest like skip practice for the day. Like maybe listen to music. There's so many different forms of practicing that isn't just active practicing. Like you could be listening to like great singers, recordings, even like modern singers today, like just like try to like be like, oh, this is interesting, like keep that in the back of your mind, be like, oh, I like what they're doing here. Maybe it's a song you want to learn in the future, you can suggest it to your teacher. Just like inactive, like indirect ways of practicing like that can also just be a way to keep your mind on Carnatic music, but not force yourself to like push through a day when you're just tired, you don't want it, you don't feel like you're in the mood. I think that's really important to normalize, like taking a break. Obviously, if you take a long break, then it's going to be hard to get back to it. I think it's really important that you keep it in your mind just so you don't lose touch. And it's really important not to lose touch.
I think how do you kind of, I think one of the big things that the transition point I see both in music and in dance from okay, I'm learning this to I really like this is when you can take something that feels very rote and you find the joy in it. You find what's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that happened for you?
Yeah, I think it was when I was singing and I was practicing with myself. I think the really turning point for me was when I was practicing ragams, so singing alapanas, and I was impressed by myself. Like I enjoyed. I was I don't know how to sing this in English, but like like I was enjoying my own singing. I was like, wow, that sounds really nice. Like when I could bring myself to be emotional over my own music, that was when I was like, it's not just learning these songs and singing them to an audience or just singing, to my teacher, like getting whatever, doing is I'm done for the week. No, it was something I could do on my own time to make myself feel better. I think once it's like the human nature is to be, selfish. So like once you have that self-interest in mind with music and you just want to, once you find the beauty in your own singing or your own music, I think that, instills that interest in you where you just don't want to stop. You're doing it for yourself. You're no longer doing it for your parents or for your teacher. Once you start doing it for yourself, and I think the best way to start, like, to get on that path is just sing in your spare time when you're alone. Like, don't sing for the sake of singing for someone else. Just sing whatever you want, like whatever you like for yourself. Like when you're alone doing homework, just be like, oh, like, I'm just gonna sing some Kalyani and just like, sing just whatever ragam you want. Find your favorite ragam. Like find what your favorite ragam is. Research, like look up all the ragams. There's so many ragams. Like you can't not have a favorite. You might think you have a favorite. Maybe there's another ragam out there that you like even more. Like listen to it and then try singing yourself and then just keep singing until you like it. I think it's really important. And it's huge in growth too, because once you start realizing these are the things that you start liking, it's most likely other people will like it too. So those are the things you want to keep singing in your kacheris. Maybe not only just sing for the audience, but sing for yourself. Like if you enjoy it, you'll have such a fun time singing the kacheri. And I think that's really important. Once you start having fun, you're not going to want to stop doing it because you're having fun, you know?
That's right. Tell us about the pieces that you have planned for the ICAPS performance.
So I sang, my main piece was Rara Rajiva, which is in Mohanam. Um, it's a Rettakale Aditalam Kriti, so that was my main piece. I learned that last year, and I've sang it at the December season last year too. And it was also a way, like concerts are a way to practice what you've like learned and showcase them better. So with that I sang a Mohanam Ragam and I sang Swarams and stuff. And my sub main was Narayana in Suddha Danyasi. And these are all songs that I learned from Maharajapuram Ramachandran, my guru, who is the son of Maharajapuram Santanam. As I mentioned before, the songs I grew up listening to. So I'm actually really blessed in that sense to be learning from someone that is so influential in my childhood. I started with Chalamela, which is Varnam, sorry. And then next I sang a short Viritam called Vakratunda Mahakaya. It's a short slogam on Ganesha. And I sang that. And then I sang Namo Namo Raghukulanayaka in Nate. And then I sang and then I sang the sub-main, Narayana, as I mentioned, and then following that, Rara Rajiva Lochana. And then after that, I sang Sri Rama Saraswati, which is it was probably my favorite kriti in the whole concert because I really love like how cool it sounds, honestly. Like to put it, there's no other way to put it. It just sounds really cool. So be on the lookout for that. It's a really cool song. I'm like kind of obsessed with it. And then I sang Nanda Gopala. Oh, sorry, no. And then I sang Nagumomu in Aperi, and that was also a really it's a really popular song, and it was a song throughout my childhood that I really, really loved. And it was a song that I really wanted to learn from my guru. And I actually learned it pretty recently, like 3 months ago. And then I finished with Tilana in Brindavan Saranga. And it's also like I taught by my guru. And it's a very cool ragam. It's very pretty. It has a lot of similarities to Hindustani music. So um, yeah, I really enjoyed that. But that's my kacheri.
That's awesome. Look forward to it. Um, what other are there any other projects you want to share that you've been working on during this time?
Yeah, so I've just been along with this virtual concert, I have been doing other virtual concerts for other temples that I have recently performed at. Before, like a lot of temples, because of the pandemic, you can't perform in person. So I think it's a really safe and fun alternative. And it's also a good way to, raise awareness to the temple. Um, Personally, I mean, I'm still like practicing and taking lessons. I have weekly lessons, sometimes twice a week, through Skype with my guru. And, it's just really just practicing at home, keeping in touch, as I mentioned, doing, yeah, like a lot of exercises, like stuff like that. I do have like a set time every day because I think it's also really important to establish a routine. So if I have a set time, like 4 p.m. is music time, that's when I sing. So like I can do all my fun stuff before that. Not that music isn't fun, but like I can do all my other things that I want to do. TV, yeah, sure, I can do before that, blah, blah, blah. I am working on a song, as I mentioned. Um, it's, as I get, like I said, it's just, a video, like a musical diary in a way, just a way for me to express my emotions. And it's really cool, I think, to publish your own music, because then like later you can watch it, or listen to it, and it will be up on like all platforms. So I'm excited about that. That's like my main project I'm working on. Yeah, it should be up soon. And I have been like doing fun things along with that. So as I was talking about how music it's not just music. It involves a lot of art forms. Like for my song I'm making, I recently like went out with my dad to a park and like did like photo shoot and all that. Just, it's fun to make an album cover and all that. So yeah, it's a lot. Music is so amazing because you can involve so many things with it, and it's everywhere. It's such a beautiful art expression. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Best of luck to you with your projects and everything you've got
Thank you.
going on. And the performance will be up next Saturday at 10 a.m.
All right, looking forward to it.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.